In this video we will evaluate / practice a few more indefinite integrals. And as a reminder, if you can get it to the point where you have powers of x, that is really kind of the ideal scenario. So undoing the power rule of differentiation, as long as n is not -1, the antiderivative or indefinite integral of x to the n is 1 over n plus 1 x to the n plus 1 plus c. So in this first example, let's go ahead and distribute that square root of x. Remember, sometimes a little bit of algebra can go a long way. And we have no property of indefinite integrals at this point to break it up over multiplication. So distributing through that square root of x, we can write that as 6 times x to the 1/2 plus 5 times x to the 3/2. And now immediately we see we can evaluate this. You have the constant 6, 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2. So 1 over 3/2 is 2/3, x to the 3/2, plus 5 times, let's see here, x to the 3/2. So 3/2 plus 1 is 5/2. 1 over 5/2 is 2/5, x to the 5/2 plus c. And as mentioned previously, instead of writing 1 over 3/2 or 1 over 5/2, we typically immediately jump to that reciprocal. So taking it one step further, if we would like to, so 6 times 2 is 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we have 4x to the 3/2 plus 2x to the 5/2 plus c. Recall that what this represents is all possible indefinite integrals, i.e. antiderivatives, of this integrand function that we started with. Similarly, for our next example, we can do an intermediary step here where we write this as 2x to the 1/2 plus 6 cosine x. So the antiderivative of x to the 1/2, 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2, so 1 over 3/2 x to the 3/2 plus 6 times the antiderivative of cosine. And the antiderivative of cosine is sine, plus c. And you could leave it in this form. When I see 2 times 2, I'll write that as 4. So 4/3 x to the 3/2 plus 6 sines of x plus c. And hopefully, indefinite integrals are going to get much more efficient as you practice more examples. With this in mind, one more example. And really at this point in time, coming from being a student in Calculus 1, we are in an ideal situation as far as integration is concerned. You can either compare to the very few formulas you have, or get there quickly using some algebraic simplification, or you're going to be using a substitution. So here in this case, we're going to go ahead and just algebraically simplify, and we'll save the substitution discussion for a future video. So 2 minus x squared, that would be 4 minus 4x plus x squared. Distribute out our x, and we would have 4x minus 4x squared plus x cubed. So once again, a little bit of algebra can go a long way. Now anti-differentiate term by term. So x to the first would be 1/2 x squared minus 4, and we have x squared, so 2 plus 1 is 3, 1/3 x cubed plus 1/4 x to the 4th plus c. So 4 over 2 is 2, so we'll say we have 2x squared minus 4/3 x cubed plus 1/4 x to the 4th plus c. And that represents the indefinite integral of x times the quantity 2 minus x squared.